What it do, Bruce Juice Crew? Today we're doing a 2026 Dynasty Superflex one-round rookie mock draft as per request. This was sent in by some viewers, and this is how we always do it. We get drafts sent in, we cover them. We've been doing this for years, and I'm going to analyze the prospects in the draft for you. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now because we're about to get to drafting. We're about to prospect profile some rookies. We're about to look at some landing spots, look at NFL mock drafts, and we're about to go balls deep in high school football recruiting, getting you ready for your Devy leagues as well. And you need to stay connected because we're going to keep you informed for your Dynasty rookie drafts and everything that entails with that. But again, Superflex, one round, first player off the board here that we're looking at in this draft that's going to fire this draft right up, Jeremiyah Love. And he is a consensus first-round draft pick in any format of draft you're looking at. Regular draft, dynasty draft, 1 QB, Superflex. We're seeing him go in the one-on-one, a lot of Superflex mocks on the internets. He is going to be the standout player in this year's draft. Everybody's clamoring to get him. Very consistent with explosive production. You're looking at what he's done over the last 5 games. 147, 94, 136, 228, 86. Just blowing up with at least 1 touchdown in every single one of those games. 1,100 yards already. 14 touchdowns, 17 touchdowns the year prior. He's explosive. He's got power. He's got the draft capital. 4.17 yards after contact per attempt. What more do you want out of him? He's going to go to a situation where he's going to be used early. That's what happens to first-round running backs. So everybody's liking Jeremiyah Love. So going over to 102, let's see what these guys have coming off the board here. And they're going wide receiver. They're going Jordyn Tyson. So when we're looking at this, we got quarterbacks still on the board here in Superflex. But one thing I can definitely say, when we're looking at big draft likes Jordyn Tyson. When we're looking at all the mock drafts, he is going up there on the board. He is the first wide receiver selected in most big draft mock drafts right now. He's very explosive. He's got good hands. I can definitely see him creating separation pretty well at the NFL level. We've been very explosive in some of these games where we have not been out there as of late, though. Our last game was middle of October. We've been banged up with that hamstring injury. But you're looking at this, we got an ADOT in the double digits every single year. Every single day. Whether it was at Colorado, Arizona State, definitely see him getting behind the defense. If he's with an aggressive quarterback at the next level, that's really going to impact his results, and that's going to impact a lot of results in this year's draft. I think this is going to be a solid wide receiver class. I won't say it's the greatest. I won't say it's one of those top-tier legendary wide receiver classes that we've seen off and on over the last, 5 years or so. But it's going to be solid. It's going to be better than the 2025 wide receiver class, where the running back class is not going to be near as good as the 2025 running back class. So when you're looking at the top wide receivers here, people are going to clamor for them. They're going to make sure they get their guy because at the top here, you got some good prospects. You're seeing some good profiles here. But going to 103, next player off the board here, Fernando Mendoza. Remember, it's Superflex. Superflex values at the quarterback is really dependent on league from what I've seen over the years. Studying leagues, studying mock drafts, really from what I've seen. So you could see a Superflex mock, a Superflex regular draft, where it's quarterback love. Quarterback love. You could definitely see love, quarterback. And a lot of these mocks, I think as we get closer to February, it's going to be more like love quarterback than the wide receivers. We're going to see that. That's just me predicting the market from seeing the market for well over a decade now, covering Dynasty fantasy football. I love his anticipation. I love that he's in the pocket and he's chill. And that's due to his pre-snap reads. He knows where he's going with the football. He has a very good idea of what the defense is going to get him. He's very studious. I can definitely tell that from how he manipulates the pocket and how chill he is waiting and going through his progressions. I can definitely tell that. He zips it downfield. He's accurate. His anticipation's top notch. We showed up good with 2 different collegiate programs. We go into Indiana here. We're blowing up, 73% completion rate, only 6 turnover-worthy plays on the season. Mendoza's solid. He's going to get first-round draft capital, might be the first quarterback off the board. We're going to be getting into draft season. That's really going to detail where the market's going to think about him, and then the draft's going to happen, but the value's up there. 104, Makai Lemon. This is my dude. This is my dude. Now, Big Draft likes Jordyn Tyson. And when I look at Lemon, I think when you're looking wide receiver to wide receiver here, he's up there. He's up there. He's very twitched up, very explosive out of the break. He's very dangerous. He can take over games. That's the thing about him. And he's been hot against Iowa, 153, against Northwestern, 161. And there's some games where he's like here and there, but 76 against Notre Dame, 93 against Michigan. He is a big play machine. He can be dominant. He can take over back-to-back years with ADOTs in the 10s, but you can also play the short game with him because he can also be a yak monster. I like that he's twitched up, but yeah, he can create separation. He's very smooth. I think there's going to be a role for him big time at the next level. I think Big Draft, once they get their eyes on him, he's going to shoot up them draft boards. I think these wide receivers are just casually going down these mock drafts as I'm watching it. I think he's going to start shooting up mock draft boards here soon. At 5, the next player we're going to be looking at here today, coming off the board, Dante Moore, 5-star quarterback prospect. Covered his high school recruiting tape multiple times during the high school recruiting process. I liked him a lot. Back then. I'm not surprised that we're here. There was a rumor a few weeks ago that he wasn't coming out for the draft. When I look at this, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised considering NIL money. I would not be surprised you look at these teams. You're looking at the developmental state at the quarterback position at the NFL. I would not be surprised. However, there's quarterback money out there at the NFL, and maybe we go chase that. But you got some good pieces here at Oregon. You got some good pieces here. You got Dak Moore. You got some good players here to look at. Now we're looking at Moore as being a very trendy player here in the draft. And he sprays it all over the yard. That's what I like about him. That's what I like about him now. That's what I liked about him back in high school. What I liked about him back in high school, he sprayed it all over the yard. Deep ball, short ball, accurate, standing firm in the pocket. Definitely see the mental processor there. You're seeing that here with Oregon, taking advantage of all that. You're looking at his ADOT right now, 8.5. That's usually a trend there with Oregon, with all the quarterbacks. But what I like about him, compared to the other Oregon quarterbacks, sprays it deeper. And I like that about his game. You're looking at his production here, 306 against Minnesota last week, 112 against Iowa, 290 against Rutgers. Also, rumors a couple weeks ago that he wasn't coming out for the draft. Totally not surprised with that either. Only 6 turnover-worthy plays on the season right now. That's looking solid when you think about that. Big-time prospect. At 106, we're looking at Carnell Tate. This is one of my guys. Also covered his high school recruiting tape, covered him, and what we noted back then was very good route runner for the size. Back in high school, limited drift coming out of those hitches. Just limited drift for the height there. Just getting back at it, and very limited drift, breaking off routes for the size. Good at getting downfield. During high school, he was compared to Calvin Ridley with how savvy he was. But the one thing you're seeing now compared to then is that he's got even less drift. He has improved. He is even smoother when it comes to getting out of those breaks. He's very good and sound technically. He will sell that break well. He will attack that blind spot. And he's also nasty downfield with the hands. I like him a lot. I would not be surprised if a lot of people have him as their wide receiver 1. I like the blend of the route running and size. I like the blend of creating separation and being savvy and being fluid with that size, with limited drift. I like that a lot. I like the production here with some heavy hitters in this offense. You got 3 games in his last 5. He's been banged up. Should be back for the Michigan game. It sounds like Day has been rather positive as of late with him. Also like 3.52 yards per route ran every year, and ADOT in the double digits. I was big on him coming out of high school. Everybody was. But the same thing about this, I'm seeing the improvements from back then. At 107 coming off the board, Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson. I believe a lot of these quarterbacks, and I should have said it with some of the others, which I might have, my CTE is kicking in, that I think another year would be great. Ty Simpson, though, tough. Tough in the pocket. Pocket breaks down. He stands tall, delivers it downfield. 11 turnover-worthy plays on the season. He'll make those big throws. He'll make those big throws downfield. He'll definitely do so. 66.9% completion rate, but if it's adjusted for everything else, 75.7% per PFF. He's had some big moments this year. That's the one thing. This guy's got ice water in his veins. He's held Keelan Russell, a 5-star quarterback, who I think when he gets promoted here at Alabama, and another quarterback that was a 4 or 5-star fringe at Bay this year, it had heavy competition for this job. Won that out. Like, out of all these quarterbacks, he had the competition and won that out and looked solid so far this year. Has been good. He's had his moments. I'll say that. He's had his moments. But when you're looking at this, you're looking at Ty Simpson. I wish we had more experience. That's the one thing about this. But he'll make that big play. Mental processor is there. Sprays it all over the yard. Stands tall in the pocket. I believe he's going to be a first-round quarterback. Might be the first or second quarterback off the board. We got to watch, see what happens more. But Thanksgiving hasn't even happened yet. At 108, Justice Haynes. Before the injury, he was popping off big. He was popping off big money. Might be back at Michigan. That's the thing about this. Might be back at Michigan. He might look at this and feel like he's got unfinished business, especially with the injury. That's the thing about this. That's what we'll see. Some of these players will come back, especially now with the NIL money. He might be back. He might be back. And also, that might be a catalyst on or a modicum from Bryce Underwood and what he does, if he stays or not. And that's speculation, and that's just words rattled out of my mouth. I know nothing. I just throw that out there because could be rather volatile. Seemed like that during the recruiting process. I mean, LSU to Michigan, maybe some money thrown at him. I don't know. I have no idea. My guess is there's a high probability he doesn't come out for the draft. There might be some unfinished business, but he was also running hot. He was running hot. And I see him being a good dynasty asset, especially a big draft values him and the NFL values him. And you're looking at the other running backs in this class. It's not as deep as other classes, and he might be able to usurp him still, even with him not being on the field. I like his patience, vision. He's very explosive. I liked him coming out of high school. This is another kid. We covered his tape back in high school. Definitely see him taking over. Definitely saw that back then. He was at Alabama, very competitive, very different there with coaching changes and everything else. And then here in 2025 at Michigan, you found your home, and you took advantage of it. I like Justice Haynes. I like him. He's got a home run threat to him. He's got some gusto in the open field, but at 109, we got to keep it moving. Sadiq coming off the board. He's a hot asset right now. He can take over games. That's the thing about this. That's the thing about him. He can take over games. He's got some upside here. 9.3 average depth of target. So he can be a seam splitter. He can get downfield a little bit. But the one thing, though, right now, only 30 catches on the season. But there's a lot of competition in this offense. We got a quarterback that has Dak Moore and some other players here that can take over games. And that sprays it around. That doesn't hyper-focuses on one target. And the thing about this, though, with Sadiq is this is a tight end that's getting a lot of hype. And when I think about this for fantasy football, when I look at first-round tight ends, unless you're Brock Bowers, I'm going to play the market with you. I'm going to see where you're going to go. Like, you can definitely say, like, well, what about Tyler Warren? The thing is, there was, like, this hype with Colson Loveland versus Tyler Warren. And honestly, I just took the value of the two And I'll probably do that here with the tight ends. And we're catching a lot of value late with tight ends, from Sam Laporta to Oronde Gadsden. And I'll probably be looking at that deeper as we get into drafts, moneyballing it, because we kind of got like this middle top end tier here of wide receivers that you kind of want to tap into with the current NFL game being so spread out, spreading around fantasy production to these wide receivers. And you got a good base of wide receivers after this point that I really want to dig into and get on my teams. But going to the 110 spot here, who's coming off the board? Denzel Boston. Boston's a touchdown machine. That's the thing about this. You're looking at his last 5 games. He's got a touchdown every single one of them, but 1, but 2 against Rutgers. And you're also looking at this with 8 touchdowns already on the season in 9 games, 9 touchdowns the year prior. He's got strong hands, nasty hands, and nice for the red zone. And really with the right quarterback too. Like, he could be huge for you. They push it to him deep downfield. I like him in those regards. I want to see what the draft thinks about him. I see him flirting with the first round in some mock drafts. I am looking at Dynasty rookie drafts. I'm looking at Dynasty rookie rankings all over the internet these days. They're all over the place. And there's some people that are a lot higher and a lot of people that are a lot lower. I'm seeing him go in this draft right here, and considering it's a super flex draft, kind of understand it, kind of see where that's going. There's also a pocket of wide receivers here where I can definitely see where it goes either way. I think he's a very slick player. I like the length on him. I like the stickiness of the hands. I like the catch radius. I like that about his game. I like what I see on tape. I want to see what Big Draft has to say. I like the hands. I like him at the catch point. I think he's solid. I think he'd be a solid guy with the right quarterback at 111. Coming off the board, Brazzell. And the thing about this, I like how he gets downfield. I like the speed. I like the explosiveness. I definitely like that part about his game. He can definitely be hit and miss. That's the one thing about him. There's some games where, like, you're like, where you at? Come on, let's fire up. We're poking him with a stick. But also, deep ball dandy. What I think his profile for fantasy would be once we're in the league, especially once we're acclimated, is the Will Fuller effect. And I think the Will Fuller effect, Jameson Williams effect, and that deep ball dandy effect here, where you're getting a lot of deep targets downfield. You bring in 1 or 2 of those in a game, you could blast off, but there'll also be like kind of what we're seeing here in Tennessee, that there'll be some games here where you're not splashing in fantasy. But also, if we get with a quarterback that pushes it, that's aggressive, that's going to be great because he's a deep threat, good hands downfield, can really attack that cushion. I like that about his game. 2.64 yards per outran, 4th-year player, 4th-year wide receiver. Kind of like the upside is almost maxed out on these 4th-year players, but some of them will take a step forward. Some of them are just ready to rock and roll in general and doesn't even matter. But what I see about him is that Will Fuller effect, that boom-bust scenario from Chris Brazzell here at the NFL level. And I also want to see what the NFL thinks of that because Big Draft might be higher than that, than the NFL. At 112, our boy Concepcion. I liked him coming out of the portal. I liked him early on in his career back in 2023. Early breakout. And then on top of that, a separator who's very explosive. He can get it done in the run game as well. And he can take over some games. And some games, they got other weapons where they can lean on. But I like Concepcion in that standpoint. He's also got some fire right now in the Dynasty community where people are drafting him up. I think last week he was a little bit higher in the draft. This week he's at 112. I think that's fine. I think things are going to split up very hard in this draft. I think once we get around February, what we got here ain't going to be real. Ain't going to be real. And then as we get closer after the draft or to the draft, after really the combine's what I'm trying to say, it's going to really split hairs there when we're looking at these players. But let me know, who's your guy? Who's your guy? Let me know. We're going to have prospect profiles, of course, covering the players. Some of these players might get more than one. We're going to have more mock drafts. I'm always getting them sent to me. Soon it'll be mock draft season. I'll be flooded with them. We'll be doing and covering mock drafts from big fantasy, big NFL. On top of that, we're going to be covering the high school football recruits. That way, when those guys come out for the draft, you got a base layer of analysis from back then, and now you're building. Like I can tell you, Carnell Tate and where he improved. Can some of these other Dynasty guys out there can do that? Can some of those other Dynasty, they don't have it on wax where they can do that. I have it here. You can just search it. I'm right there. I'm telling you. Like, I have it covering the tape. I can go back and remember that. I can go back watching myself do that. I can do that. That's the thing about this. So you need to hit that subscribe right now so you don't miss out on your rookie draft content here, because I'm going to be here every single day. And we're getting fired up. Maybe more videos coming at you per week as well. Make sure you hit that button. Stop missing out. Ric Flair's watching. I'll catch you on the next video.